What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer here with Mike Gallagher to walk you through Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, but we will also touch on Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals and the injuries to monitor there as we head into the weekend. Mike Gallagher, it is a fanless Friday, just you and myself here to talk through these two games. How are you feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. Yeah, ready for an exciting game tonight. Finally got a little bit of a Boston blowout. Certainly a lot to talk about for Tyrese Halliburton. I dug up all the stuff for you guys that we'll go over. So probably won't spend much time for the game tonight, but I will get you guys up to speed on everything going on with Tyrese Halliburton. And, of course, Luke Cornett. You got to get the Cornett goodies.
Let's start with Dallas, Minnesota, the game tonight, though. The Dallas injury report is similar to what it's been the last few games. Luka Doncic probable with the right knee sprain and the left ankle soreness. Maxi Kleber and Omax Prosper out. What are your notes on the Mavericks and Luka Doncic, who looked very healthy in Game 1 as they stole one in Minnesota?
Yeah, really big win from them. We saw Luka Doncic look better. His drives were significantly up from 23, up from like 16 and a half the last series. Just looked like himself, certainly in the fourth quarter. Had plenty of juice left. Jason Kidd said after the game that they were trying to keep him around 40 to make sure they were fresh to close out the game. I wonder if they do that again. We thought about ticking Luka down a bit, but couldn't quite do it because we know he still has the 44s in him. Other than that, Maxi Kleber is still really not that close. He is doing some on-court shooting, but very little there. And then, the rotation, Derek Lively is just coming here. He's probably going to be pushing close to 30 with his impact, plus 19, really won the game, was really good in the Anthony Edwards actions. And then PJ Washington led the team in minutes by, I think, 7 seconds. So that was, quite wild. And played very well defensively. Offensively, he wasn't quite there. But, everything kind of went according to plan. We know the starters. We know Derek Lively's going to play a ton. Josh Green will be their kind of seventh man. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jaden Hardy picking up the scraps. I don't think they're going to Dante Exum. Really quick hook for him. So, in a pretty good spot here to try to take a commanding 2-0 lead.
On the Minnesota side of things, Mike Conley still listed questionable with that right soleus strain. The minutes did come down from Game 7, which we knew that was going to happen. He had played 39, which was a season high by a wide margin. Back down in the low 30s range, 31 is where he finished. This is sort of around where I'm expecting him to be in this series. What are your thoughts on the Mike Conley questionable tag tonight?
Yeah, it should be good. There's really no commentary. We know that the Wolves do this during the season. They list guys questionable multiple games after. So pretty much status quo there. Minutes were pretty light in the first half and then got pushed up in the second half quite a bit and didn't really play well. Missed a lot of big shots that were very uncharacteristic, 1 of 6 from 3 from him. So, and then the thing that we talked a lot about on the injury show was Kyle Anderson's impact. And Kyle Anderson's impact actually really affected Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Cut his minutes down for Nickeil not to get all the non-Conleys. Got pretty good bit of him, but that was not a good look for Na. We'll see if he can bounce back. I think putting Na on Kyrie Irving to take a little bit off Anthony Edwards' plate makes a lot of sense. Really just a lot of effort used by Anthony Edwards on both sides of the court. And then, everyone else is good to go. Rudy Gobert is fine. Obviously, Jaden McDaniels had a really awesome game. We'll see. Very confident it's going to be an 8-man. Naz Reid with no foul troubles. He had all the front court scraps, which I expect to continue. So they'll have kind of a 3-man rotation in the front court, and then Kyle Anderson mostly behind Jaden. Their bench minutes got cut down. Kyle Anderson and Na played very little in the second half as Conley's minutes got pushed up, and the other starters played a ton. So, basically run this back with the 8-man. It's just a matter of can Nickeil get back up into the low to mid-20s. And it would be at Mike Conley's expense. I think that's the path. That's what we talked about on the show a couple days ago. So I think we're mostly running this situation back for both sides.
Yep. I think there's another path, but I'll save it for the premium content with regards to Nickeil Alexander-Walker because, we got to talk the rotation stuff. We got to keep some of it behind the paywall for the subs playing Showdown. Let's move to Saturday's game, Boston and Indy, Game 3 here. This is the more substantial injury stuff to speculate on. Neither team has filed their injury report at this point in time, but we know Tyrese Halliburton left in the third quarter of last night's game. Luke Cornett also left in the first half of last night's game for Boston. Let's start on Halliburton. because obviously it's the hamstring issue. He's had a hamstring issue kind of lingering throughout the second half of the season. What are your expectations here on whether we see Tyrese Halliburton for Game 3 or not?
Yeah, not good. This is obviously the hamstring that he injured when he missed 10 games. We saw him have that 22-minute limit to get him over the All-NBA threshold, which he did. Shout out to him, and nice to have $41 million raise. So, yeah, this isn't great. According to Rick Carlisle, he was dealing with a little bit of soreness in the first half and also had a chest x-ray in the halftime. And he said during halftime, he was with medical and their whole halftime meeting and prep talk there. So, clearly some stuff going on. Gave it a shot in the second half, just didn't have it. Got ruled out in the fourth, and Rick Carlisle said it wasn't score related. It was not a coaching decision. He was quote unable to play in this game. So yeah, pretty scary. They're going to do imaging today. He said he'll know a little bit today, and they'll know more on Saturday. I would expect him to probably get the Q tag. We know that Pacers love to use Q tags, and that's just what teams do. Kind of Jared Allen had a broken rib, and he was getting the Q tag, which was just total nonsense. But total nonsense of the listing, not total nonsense of him not playing. Obviously, he definitely should not be playing with a broken rib. So, anyways, that's not good. I think he misses. The fact that he did try to play through it is, I guess, some optimism, but seems pretty unlikely. So that raises the question of who starts for him. Do you think it just has to be TJ McConnell? Going back to last series, we saw, Stan Van Gundy on the call was like, hey, where's TJ McConnell? Where's TJ McConnell? Then after the game, for Carlisle said he had an allotment of minutes he had allocated for him, and he didn't want to go over those. So that has to come up. I think McConnell will play a ton. And talk about this, you think Halliburton is a big deal, and he is. But if they're going to feel the squeeze so much more because they don't have that back threat. Their handling and playmaking is just out. This is gone. They've got McConnell, maybe Nembhard, and then also should know too. Early plug pull last night. I mean, they were down 15 with 9 minutes left. They pulled the plug. Rick Carlisle said that Pascal Siakam was very tired, and that's kind of why he kicked him out. And he also wanted to get a look at guys. He said he hadn't seen Jalen Smith play in a little bit. Wanted to get a look at him. Wanted to see Devin McDermott. They're gonna have to find guys to play minutes. I don't. Ben Shepherd would certainly be benefiting. Obi Toppin, he would play a little bit. We saw a little bit of that Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Obi Toppin front court, of the big front court, a little bit in this series. So yeah, this is really, really bad. I'm probably going to be 20 and after gang and hitting that Celtics -7 because I think just again, elevating these guys into those minutes is going to really hurt them. So really devastating loss if Halliburton can't go.
Yep, and you might want to check your audio mic. I think the microphone switched to the AirPods there during that segment. You could be heard, but it was a little bit more echoey on that front there. So
it was my microphone. So
okay,
yeah, probably my connection.
Yep.
You guys hear me? It just kind of
sound better now. It sounded just a little echoey or in a tunnel type before.
Okay,
but I could be. I was able to make out everything there. In terms of the starter, if Halliburton is unable to go, McConnell's the obvious candidate there. I don't even know what the other candidates would look like.
Shepherd.
Yeah. I guess it would be Shepherd in that instance. I mean, the challenge obviously is a McConnell Nembhard backcourt is just very small. And the challenge there against Boston's size is it's tricky to know how much you can play that backcourt without kind of getting punished on the other end. The other thing we saw from Boston is they made a decision to defend TJ McConnell with size a little bit more yesterday. And it was basically we're just going to let TJ McConnell try to dribble around. We're just going to stay closer to the basket with size on him and then know that once he picks up his dribble, we can contest, but we're just going to kind of let him dribble around in circles. And it had an impact on making TJ a little bit less effective in terms of breaking down the defense and getting teams in scramble mode and different things like that. So that was another thing that I noticed last night. But certainly if they're without Halliburton, I mean, it's just a huge hit to the team's competitiveness here. They've been able to play really effectively. We've talked about this playoffs has unfortunately been a case where we've been talking a lot about injuries and teams playing without their best players or without their best players at full strength. And Boston's obviously been playing without Kristaps Porzingis for a while now. Indiana has been the one team that Indiana and Minnesota to some extent, although Minnesota lost Mike Conley at one point, have Indiana's largely been unaffected. They've been on the positive side of this injury variance for much of the playoffs, outside of coming into the playoffs without Benedict Mathurin. And unfortunately, it looks like it's reared its ugly head here with Halliburton. What are your notes on Luke Cornett? He left in the first half yesterday. We were concerned about maybe his minutes getting cut down simply because of ineffectiveness. He left here due to injury. He was shaking his left hand after a contest pretty clearly, then went right back to the locker room. Surprisingly, it was O'Shea Brissett who got the call instead of Xavier Tillman. I actually thought about bringing this up just because Brissett fits the series a little bit better than some of these guys, just from a speed switchability kind of standpoint. He was pretty effective in the time he was out there. I mean, 12 minutes, he was plus 18. What are your notes on Cornett? And even if Cornett's available, I do wonder if O'Shea Brissett in his play might have earned a little bit of a role here.
Yeah, they said they were, quote, forced. Missoula said they were, quote, forced into going to O'Shea Brissett, and he was great. He said he wanted to keep an open mind on how to attack that front court. But yeah, Luke Cornett, we saw him hurt his wrist. He had a big brace on his wrist after the game, so be pretty surprised if he played. Which again, that opens up the O'Shea revenge game. And what I used to call the Ice Cube front court, which O'Shea Brissett and Isaiah Jackson. O'Shea Jackson is Ice Cube, the rapper's name. But anyways, yeah. So I think O'Shea gets that spot. Should mention Kristaps. It sounds like I don't think they're gonna bring him in. If you told me they lost this game, I think it would be more likely he would play. But with the 2-0 lead now, with Halliburton banged up, feel pretty confident they're gonna sit KP out. Maybe they play him in game 4 because they don't want to bring him back right in the finals, something along that lines. And he would have a really sharp minutes limit on him. So we should have that ready for Monday. But I'd be shocked if Kristaps played. Maybe they give him a doubtful tag or a Q tag, but not expecting him to play. Not expecting Cornett to play. Obviously, we could talk about the performance from Jaylen Brown. Just if you want to play the All-NBA snub game, could go there. Drew was fantastic again. Derek White was really good, especially later on. Shout out to us for the over. But mostly the same situation. But expecting O'Shea to, kind of Wally Pip his way into the backup center minutes or backup power forward minutes, if you want to call Tatum the 5, because he was guarding Miles Turner again.
Yeah. Member in chat noting that Carlisle might have pulled everybody early because he knows Hallie's going to miss and they're going to need to play guys a bunch of minutes on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. You lost your audio for a sec. Nope. Yep. I can't hear you. Yep. All right. I hope you guys can hear me. But and to the point on chat, Carlisle just wanted to find guys, so I think that's part of the reason why they were putting in these random guys. But not much else to say. Hauser's minutes were kind of back up there. Just Horford's minutes did get cut down partly because of the great play from O'Shea Brissett. Anything you wanted to add, Dick? We got like nothing when you started talking.
Yeah, I was just saying that in general, it's just a weird tact if the idea was to pull everybody a little bit early because you're going to have to play a lot on Saturday. Like, it's a weird tactic simply because you only have so many games, and a 15-point lead like in the NBA with 9 minutes left is not insurmountable by any means. Obviously, there were huge underdogs, and if you look at any sort of modeling of their percentage chances of winning, they're very low, but their percentage chances of winning any game in modeling is quite low just because of the talent gap between these two teams. So I thought it was a little bit of an unusual approach by Carlisle, but we'll see. I agree with your note on Porzingis that I just don't think there's any reason to rush. So I think, game 4 starts to be the target now. And I agree with you that they probably wouldn't mind getting him some on-court activity, but if he's not 100%, he's not going to be out there. So if it's game 4, he's not 100% and they sweep, I think they're fine with that. They can get on-court activity and practice and different stuff like that. So I don't think there's any need to rush Kristaps there, but no other real big notes here. Do you think if Cornett's available, do you think O'Shea has challenged for that role, or do you think Cornett still has it regardless?
No, I don't think. We'd be hedging for sure. I mean, he was great.
Yeah.
That they found something with Jason Tatum guarding Miles Turner. Talked about that quite a bit on the show. So Miles didn't really have a great game yesterday, but I feel like it's if we split those minutes, probably 50-50, right? Maybe 60-40, 70-30 in favor of O'Shea. But again, I mean, he had a big brace on his wrist. I'm pretty sure he's going to miss this one.
Yep. All right. That will do it for this edition of Establish Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. We got people asking in chat for early releases today in terms of the bets. We'll look at the board. If there's anything to bet, we'll bet it. We can't bet days in advance because of liquidity. So that's the big reason. Like, we'll test stuff and you can only win like $150 on it. We're not going to release it because people will get upset about that. So generally, the timing of the releases is due to liquidity in the market and what they will allow you to win on a wager, as much as it is our ability to get the work done in time. Many times we're just sitting there and testing every hour to see what the liquidity is on a bet before sending it, and sometimes we lose bets because of that go away while we're waiting. So we're at the market's decision there. A couple notes from a programming perspective. Obviously, that we will be on Monday. There will be games regardless Monday. But next week there will. In Monday is Memorial Day. For us, as long as there's games and it's a weekday, we will be doing the show. So we will continue to do the show on Monday, regardless of the holiday. There might be a day off next week at some point during the course of the week, simply because the series will end. If so, we will not be broadcasting on any days that there are no games. The earliest that could happen, I believe, is next Wednesday. Would be game 5 for Boston and Indiana. So that would be the earliest that could happen. But Wednesday or Friday certainly are days that we might end up with no games next week. Other notes to mention, we have posted on the site, and Mike, you're not even going to be prepared for this, but if you go onto our site under the NBA header and just click NBA, you will see a couple posts down. There is a job posting for ETR's NBA team if people are interested in joining the NBA team. We always find it interesting to look through candidates during the course of the off season. So we're going to start that search a little bit earlier this year to give myself more time to interview through all the candidates. But we're looking for experienced DFS players, sports bettors, or fantasy players to join our NBA team. You can read more about the role on the site. If you go to establishedrun.com, you just click on the NBA header, and it's a few articles down right now. There's requirements to apply in terms of cover letter and or resume, as well as some problem solving and some questions to answer at the bottom, as we try to weed down the number of candidates that narrow down to only those who are qualified and truly interested in the role. It is a part-time role that we're looking to hire for now, but we're open to hiring for full-time roles. So if you are intrigued about working in this space, I will note availability on weekends and nights is important for this type of role. So it is a challenging role for a lot of people to fit into their schedule, but we've had good success at hiring qualified and strong candidates to build out our team. So we're going to continue to look for more candidates to improve the team. If you're interested, you can follow along that job posting and send your applications to careers@establishedrun.com. We'll be intermixing some promotions about this role and this opportunity during the course of content over the next few weeks. So I wanted to let everybody know about that as well. And as always, if you are interested in supporting our content, the best way to do so is to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We did clear our goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of the NBA season. We appreciate everyone's help in getting there. Would still love for you to subscribe if you hadn't to the channel and get notifications by clicking that bell whenever we go live with new content. You can find the latest edition of our podcast up that posted yesterday that looked at what we saw in game ones for both of the conference finals. And we'll have another podcast that we'll be recording on Monday to break down where we are through game threes of these series that will once again be posted to this YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe so you know whenever the content is new and available, YouTube will let you know. And if you're interested in supporting our premium content, you can check out establishedrun.com/subscribe-NBA for more details on our premium products. Myself and Mike Gallagher will be behind the paywall once again today, breaking down the good chalk, the bad chalk, the contrarian plays, and of course the flag plans for this showdown slate. Feel like we've been in good shape on the Indiana-Boston. Weren't the best on the game one in Minnesota-Dallas, so it's a revenge game for Mike and I tonight in the showdown street. So catch us at 5 o'clock Eastern time behind the paywall there. Also, if you are interested in keeping this content free in advance of next season, the best way to do so is to smash that like button and feed that algorithm. By feeding that algorithm, you help feed our families with those sweet, sweet advertisements, and it allows us to help us feed you the NBA injury information and analysis you need each and every day to set your lineups and make your spread bets and your prop bets. So smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, feed those algorithms. Enjoy your weekend on a Memorial Day weekend. Nom, 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 nom. We'll see you on Monday.